in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, let's kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say.
What can we learn from the fiasco associated with the comedian Monique? Is Monique suffering from an underlying mental illness, a mental illness that caused her to go off based on the pain that was associated with Monique from the past? You guys know, and I know that more recently, Monique said some very negative things towards several comedians. One of those was D.L.Hugely, Steve Harvey, and a myriad of others. But true to life, many would say that art often imitates life. And if art imitates life, what can we learn about the Monique situation? Was Monique ruminating about Precious, as Precious was a projection of who she was, but also was Precious a projection of the pain that she suffered? As we all know, that Monique went through severe trauma of being raped in the past, and did that raping cause Monique to go through a cognitive split and develop what's called personality disorders and also post-traumatic stress disorder. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as we explore the meta madness associated with Monique. And I need you guys to remember this, as there are 7 steps to male optimization. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. What can we learn about Monique and her negative and very evil comments towards people such as D.L.Hugely and his family? And have you seen Monique manifest in some modern women? Be well.
Remember those days, those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign. I don't need that energy around me. I just need sun, you're so cloudy. I wake up good, you're so grouchy. Please get from around me. When the truth don't work, you start telling lies. Thought you were down to ride, you weren't down to ride. Caught switching, you were picking sides. Don't blink, caught slipping like a slip and slide. I was shooting dice till I got a nosebleed. Money on the floor, can't get cold feet. Took a L, should've put it in the offering. Lord, forgive me for my sins, don't know of me. Scary thoughts, I got scary thoughts. Lost control, now I'm taking charge. Breaking bills, friends breaking off. You could be the youngest, I'm the dawn. Kiss the ring, nah. In the scene like GOT. Stay awake, don't sleep. Like Jon Snow, get R.I.P. Remember those days, those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign. I don't need that energy around me. I just need sun, you're so cloudy. I wake up good, you're so grouchy. Please get from around me. Just me, myself, and I'm my favorite threesome. The cars I drive by, I never lease them. They say if you can't beat them, then you join them. That's no option, I don't join, I always beat them. I was fake, had to find me. Now I'm on beat, skating like I'm grinding. L hit me, said it's all about the timing. If you want the vision, get to spinning. My mama told me trust in God, it's never limits. Now I'm on the scoreboard, running up the digits. I put in work, you know I'm up to get it. Early bird gets the worm and the Yankee fitted. Like whoa, bags under my eyes and you know. Won't complain, I'm tired, I'm on go. For that grip, 10 toes till they swole. For that grip, 10 toes till they swole. Remember those days, those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign. I don't need that energy around me. I just need sun, you're so cloudy. I wake up good, you're so grouchy. Please get from around me. was starving, now I'm eating till my belly full. From up north, we get cold, you need a heavy coat. Scared to end up on the shirt before a centerfold. Devil on my back, target on me, deadly too. Play the keys, don't tweet. It's not peace, don't speak. 24, no sleep. This is real, no tweet. My bros for life, can't break this link. Family on my side, baby stay around me. I don't want no combo, I want checks. I don't want the second, I want this. I'm all in my head, swear I'm a wreck. I've been moving like a hot mess. I don't want no combo, I want checks. I don't want the second, I want this. I'm all in my head, swear I'm a wreck. I've been moving like a hot mess. Want that combo, better know you'll need a check from me. Can pay to play, the sun and still won't get a cent from me. I mix the fit up with the side like it's a remedy. I mix it up inside the pot, watch it drip while it drop. Time to take it to the top. Chips all in the middle like it fall, no I won't flop. We gon' pop like a soda can top. To me this is nothing, call my bluff and I won't stop when I flex. I don't want no combo, I want checks. I want the checks, yeah. I don't want the second, I want best. I want best, yeah. By any means, that's a triple threat. A triple threat. Yeah, this is getting bigger, I might flex. I don't want no combo, I want checks. I don't want the second, I want best. I'm all in my head, swear I'm a wreck. I've been moving like a hot mess. I don't want no combo, I want checks. I don't want the second, I want best. I'm all in my head, swear I'm a wreck. I've been moving like a hot mess.
Whoa, I press the button and the doors go up. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, I hit recorded, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, finished friends on my face. Looking like I'm from the D. D's no Cartiers. Pockets deep, bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go up like. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa. Neighborhood on the scene, neighborhood on the strip. Neighborhood be the name, neighborhood no crib. Neighborhood that's me, neighborhood that's Nick. Neighborhood do the dance, neighborhood do the dip. Okay, thought I'd never make it like no way. I'm the real deal, no role play. My days off, that's no days. No, I hustle hard, young rose. E be the shooter, that's cold case. Those on the deals, that's brose. Got no pay, yo, no say. Okay, this the news, tell them read it. Been the one since the fetus. Don't sleep on me, Tempur-Pedic. That's a no. Spending dope for no reason. Got a ball head, Mr. Cleaner. Heard the big bags overseas, then we gon' go. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go up like. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go up like. Whoa, that money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa. Tunnel vision when I hit the Holly. Working on that cause my mind is on an island. Told my babies I'll be homeless, so don't stay up. Breaks my heart to see them sad, so I won't wait up. Need it all that's mine, I need it now. I lost my patience the same week I lost my smile. My baby pressed me, said I'm acting like a child. I took some L's, can't lie, that really brought me down. I'm
so antisocial, but I guess it's type selected. Swear I make a change, but for now I just can't help it. Only trusting God in these cars that I've been dealt with. I'ma do my job, time to grind, time to know. They know, 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 they know. Pedal to the metal, they know. Gone and I won't let up, they know. I'm not so fed up, they know. Stay for the record, they know. They know, they know, they know. Yeah, they know. Pedal to the metal, they know. I'm not so fed up, they know. Why you never sign? You sign when you go live. Stuck inside that bubble, never ever go outside. You don't know you know computers, you're a tech guy. Back against a wall, you gon' fall or you gon' ride. I feel the pressure, foot to the pedal. My dogs, they fed up, my squad won't let up. Those sneakers CDG, hot on step on. My money yoga, the weight is stretch on. I change locations to change the weather. Knowing that rain come, got my umbrella. And when my day come, my name gon' stay up. Yeah, I know, I know, I know. Pedal to the metal, they know. Gone and I won't let up, they know. I'm not so fed up, they know. Stay for the record, they know. They know, they know, they know. Yeah, they know. Pedal to the metal, they know. I'm not so fed up, they know.
What can we learn from the fiasco associated with the comedian Monique? Is Monique suffering from an underlying mental illness, a mental illness that caused her to go off based on the pain that was associated with Monique from the past? You guys know, and I know that more recently, Monique said some very negative things towards several comedians. One of those was D.L.Hugely, Steve Harvey, and a myriad of others. But true to life, many would say that art often imitates life. And if art imitates life, what can we learn about the Monique situation? Was Monique ruminating about Precious, as Precious was a projection of who she was, but also was Precious a projection of the pain that she suffered, as we all know that Monique went through severe trauma of being raped in the past, and then that raping caused Monique to go through a cognitive split and develop what's called personality disorders and also post-traumatic stress disorder. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as we explore the meta madness associated with Monique. And I need you guys to remember this, as there are 7 steps to male optimization. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. What can we learn about Monique and her negative and very evil comments towards people such as D.L.Hugely and his family? And have you seen Monique manifest in some modern women? Be well. We're going to start this stream, and thank you guys for tuning in on tonight. As many times when I'm doing these shows, this is education, but also it's art imitating life. It's edutainment. It's art imitates life. Listen, many times we said it before, guys, in the past when we asked the question, are modern women really built like that? Is Monique really built like that? Because when CoreyHolcombe challenged Monique, Monique had to fall back because she wasn't ready to deal with the wrath of a man like CoreyHolcombe. And, you know, you guys and I, we see it all the time. Many of you guys have dated women like Monique. Black Urban Speak, shout out to that brother, made a very good comment earlier where he said it's a byproduct of aging and she's not getting the attention that she used to get. But the fact is, I believe that Monique went through something synonymous to a personality disorder. And I'm not going to say this unequivocally because that would be erroneous to do so. But could I argue that Monique is dealing with a personality disorder? That's the question. And I would say that perhaps yes, because she was sexually traumatized in the past by not only her brother, but Monique was traumatized by someone else as well. And see, when you deal with women like Monique, in order to feel powerful, they must accost the person that did them wrong. I'm going to say it again. In order to feel powerful, they got to show a level of vitriol to the people that did them wrong. And sometimes women like Monique, guys, they will project their issues onto you, and they'll also project their issues based on the struggles that they had in the past. Now, to the 8 that are watching, guys, share this stream. Get the likes up. I really appreciate it, guys. Get the likes up. Get the likes up because many are suffering from something called mental madness, or what I call meta madness. And the word meta comes from the word metacognitions. It means to think about what you are thinking about. And so you ask yourself the question with some of these personalities, not only on this platform called YouTube, but also the behavior associated with a woman called Monique. What was Monique thinking about to say the very negative or harmless things or harmful things, not only towards D.L.Hugely, but what was Monique thinking about when she said some of those negative struggles or the negative challenges that caused so many to be afflicted? I told you guys before in the past that it's a condition called egocyntonia. And egocyntonia many times is seen in people with delusional personality disorders. They really think the way they're feeling is natural. They think that when they see things, people that have delusional personality disorder, they think it's normal. And many times a person that has egocyntonia, they have no problem with the behaviors that they are exhibiting. And that can be the dark side, guys, of personality disorder, similar to what many have. As I said again, I am not here to diagnose anyone. That would be erroneous to do so because this show is dedicated to art imitating life. But the question remains, when we see women like Monique, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you when you see women like Monique manifesting negative behavior in the world, but also manifesting negative behavior in social media? What do you say to yourself? Do you say that Monique is just more of the same? Or would you say that you've never seen women like Monique showing behaviors that you would consider to be very violent, but also very negative? And these questions, guys, got to be asked because a lot of people that present like they're built like that, they're really not built like that, but many are struggling with issues and many are struggling with forms of undiagnosed mental illness. I want to ask you the question, what did you think when you saw Monique manifest some of the behaviors that she's manifest? Did you see her as being very vile, evil, or did you see Monique as having a mental illness? That's the question. Let me put this in here real quick. Hold tight, guys. So once again, guys, get the likes up, share the content. We're going to have a great show on tonight as we try to bring clarity. I had my friend Sean Whitehorn on, and we were talking about borderline personality disorders, and he was talking about the struggles that he had due to molestation. And as I told you guys before in the past, when people are sexually traumatized, it can cause them to not only go through trauma, but also to develop personality disorders. And that's why these conversations are so important. Hold tight. All right. So I got it in. And once again, guys, that's the question about Monique. That is the question about Monique. Was Monique wrong in her behaviors? Was Monique wrong in some of the issues that she had associated with the CoreyHolcombe fiasco? So once again, we got to ask ourselves the question, Is Monique really built like that? Have you dealt with women like Monique in the past? As we continue to look at the world and continue to explore some of the negatives associated with the world, one of the struggles that we have with some of the negatives associated with the world is this. You never know where people are coming from. You never know what people are going through or what people are dealing with. And when people are going through things and dealing with things, many times they manifest behaviors that are not beneficial to themselves or others. We're going to look at this clip, guys, and I got some things up. We're going to look at this clip. And I want you guys to tell me what you see as Monique was very disrespectful towards the comedian D.L.Hugely. Hold tight. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. We're going to break this down because it's an issue when you see these kinds of behaviors and they go unmet. Hold tight. All right, so hold tight. Let me see. Fair use, fair use, fair use. All right, so this is fair use, guys. This is going to be fair use. And we're going to ask ourselves the question, is Monique really built like that? Is she really built like that? And what I call meta madness. And this is the culmination of Monique's behavior as it begins to percolate. Monique's behavior, as you see, is going up on a crescendo. And she said something very negative towards D.L.Hugely's daughter that caught many off guard, that actually got her a lot of clapback from people like Vivica Fox. But the question remains once again, is Monique really built like that as she continued to cycle through what's called meta madness, or is Monique a victim of a condition called ego syntonic? Because women like Monique think that she needs to feel that way. Some think that the behaviors that they're exhibiting are normal and they're justified. But those behaviors are not justified when you sink down to an all-time low. And some of you guys have seen it. We've seen it. I've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen some people in YouTube that sink to an all-time low when they attack others and have more or less very disparaging remarks. But we're going to get into it, guys. And we're going to ask ourselves the question, what caused Monique to go off on D.L.Hugely? Now, I warn you guys, the language is very terse. So please forgive me if you're hearing the language that's not beneficial to your ears. This is for education, but also entertainment. I do not endorse the language used by Monique or some of these comedians. Once again, I do not endorse the language used by Monique or some of these comedians. All right, hold tight.
Bitch, I know, right? See, when they called me to come play Detroit and come play the Fox Theater, and I ain't played the Fox Theater in over 20 motherfucking years. I was so goddamn excited. I was so...
Once again, I do not endorse the language used by this woman, her very toxic mouth. But it's going to make sense in a minute, guys. It's going to make sense because the question remains, is Monique dealing with ageism, or is Monique dealing with some unresolved mental illness that's caused her to have meta madness, and it's causing you and I to ponder the question, what was she thinking about when she said the things that she said about D.L.Hugely, Steve Harvey? And once again, where was the smoke when it came down to Corey Holcombe? Keep listening.
Motherfucking excited because I said, oh, a bitch is going back. A bitch is going back to the Fox Theater in motherfucking Detroit. When I tell you Detroit, y'all don't understand what the fuck I had to go through to stand in front of you beautiful motherfuckers tonight. Y'all don't understand the fight a bitch had to go through to stand in front of y'all tonight. Y'all don't understand I was ready to walk the fuck up out of here, but I said I can't let the people down of motherfucking Detroit because the promoters is raggedy as a motherfucker. I don't fuck with nobody. I take pride in not fucking with nobody, nigga. But if you fuck with me, we gon' dance, nigga. We gon' do the two-step, nigga. cry, baby. In my whole motherfucking career, can't nobody tell you I ever started no shit with them. That ain't what the fuck.
If you notice, guys, Monique has a lot of anger. A lot of anger that looks like displaced aggression. She's always feeling like people did her wrong. And people that have been traumatized have a condition called hypervigilance. They're very hypervigilant in getting people back because many times people that have been traumatized have a condition where they feel like they're powerless. So and for them to feel powerful, because their egos are very fragile, they gaslight and they manipulate to get the power that they feel like can help them deal with the struggle that they're dealing with. Keep listening.
I do, my heart would hurt if I tried to bully a motherfucker or start some shit with a motherfucker. But what niggas had to understand about me, I ain't for that Hollywood bullshit. If you cross the motherfucking line, Oprah, if you cross the motherfucking line, Tyler, I'm gonna see you cool motherfuckers. Come on, the cool train, nigga, choo-choo! Them niggas told me, Monique, let go and let God. Let go and let God. They have taught niggas to be so motherfucking fearful and just give it to God. Let go and let God. That's why.
And see, you ask yourself the question, guys, is Monique built like that? Shout out to my man Top Gun. He created a word called the granny serpent. And, the question remains, is Monique a granny serpent? Shout out to Top Gun. Because, Monique was talking about, or she was virtue signaling in the past, and she was telling people to do the right thing, and she was telling people to, telling the young ladies to dress in a modest apparel. But it's Monique's mouth modest. She has a very nasty mouth. Her mouth is very disrespectful. And once again, women like Monique can cause or will cause some men to go into a violent rage because I've always said, guys, I can have beef with you, but I don't bring children and family members in it. But some of these people, especially in these spaces, have unresolved mental illness, in my opinion. I'm not going to diagnose anybody, but they definitely have unresolved mental illness because you got to ask yourself the question, what would make them say the things that they are saying? That's a byproduct of what I call, a word I created called meta madness. And meta madness comes from the word metacognitions. It means to think about what you're thinking about. And that's what Monique is doing. Monique is doing that because Monique, guys, once again, it makes you wonder, why would she say something so negative? A woman that so many brothers have begun to respect highly. But as Top Gun said, he's right. Monique has a condition of a granny serpent. She's a granny serpent, and anytime you make her upset, Monique does what many women get, she attacks. Yeah, she attacks. Monique attacks because Monique has a schema affliction. Monique has a schema based on pain and based on fear. Monique has a schema of not having power. And because of that schema of unresolved trauma from the past, she has an affliction or fear. And so in order for Monique to feel powerful or to feel like she have power, she reverts back to the things of the past. And that's what happens with the mind. You never get over trauma. You just learn how to deal with it better. But Monique, the question remains, has Monique got over her childhood trauma? She was raped by her brother and she was raped by boys in the community. And who's to say at that point that this woman didn't have a split? We gotta ask ourselves the question, did it make Monique hypersexual? Does Monique have an unresolved borderline personality disorders? That's what the question remains. But I would say if I gave her a diagnosis, and I'm not giving one, she definitely has some narcissistic traits, and she definitely probably has some residual effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. And some of you guys have dated women like Monique. I'm going to do a show on tomorrow called the Medusa Complex. And I'm going to have a category of 3 different women. And we're going to ask ourselves the question, have you dated the women that's going to be as some of the featured guests on the panel? Not on the panel, but on the thumbnail. So let's finish listen to it. And I'm going to read through some of these comments as we're listening to it. Shout out to Awesome Dre. What's up, brother? Shout out to D. GCLA said, it's really sad to see her in a meltdown. Her husband is supporters of her madness, no doubt. Monique is showing her colors, her true colors. Another bitter woman. She put on the front with a good Ani pose, right? And that's Top Gun he called her the Granny Serpent because she got a schema affliction. She got a schema affliction. And that schema affliction is often taken out on other people. And just like many of these women, some of them in these spaces, they are the Granny Serpent, just like Monique. And every time you hold them accountable, guys, they strike. But many times they can't hear you. They can't hear what you guys are saying because they got a condition called Monique can't hear and many can't hear because they got a cacophony going on inside their head that forbids them to hearing the truth. Cognitive dissonance, deaf, deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue, do ad hominem attacks, and they attack the messenger instead of attacking the message, and they fight you or flee because they can't deal with the pressure and they can't deal with the pain. And some of you guys are dealing with women like Monique, you know, the Granny Serpent. Once again, shout out to Top Gun. He came up with that term, shout out to him. But they're like transformers. They're, serpents in disguise. And you never know when they're going to strike because they hide their behaviors very well, similar to a chameleon, behavior. But once again, guys, we're going to continue to play the clip, guys. Get the likes up, share the stream. If you're not donated, donate to Cash App, $7 Smalls. But also in the meantime, share the stream, guys. If you don't have any money to share, that's fine. But just share the stream and let's get this show popping because I'm going to have a good one for you on tomorrow and Saturday as we continue the discussion about ongoing mental illness and the dark triad. So keep listening.
I kept hearing the shit over and over and over again. So I said, well, let me let the shit go and let me give it a go. And you know what God did? He gave it right the fuck back. He said, bitch, I gave you everything you need to deal with these motherfucking coons. Steve Harvey, D.L.Hugely. I gave you everything you need to deal with these motherfucking coons. I don't fuck with nobody. See, tonight, I'm gonna tell y'all what the fuck is going on because y'all know one thing about me, bitch, I'm gonna tell.
And Monique is very blasphemous too. The fact that she took God's name in vain and said that God told her that. Who would say the things like that? She has no shame. She has no decorum. And I was really pulling for Monique when she was telling these young ladies about putting bonnets on, taking the bonnets off. But once again, as you guys have seen, a lot of granny serpents. And if they're not granny serpents, they are chameleons. They're chameleons. That is virtue signal. They'll say or become what you want them to become until they get that schema affliction. Shout out to my man, hold tight. Shout out to Moonwalker. He said that bitter, scorned, and angry. I appreciate it, brother. No doubt. I appreciate it 1,000%. Shout out to Awesome Dre. He said Granny Serpent. I like that Top Gun. I like it too. But that's what we're seeing, guys. That's what we're seeing. And that's what we're seeing manifest with so many of these modern women that come, or more or less manifest like they're coming in the spirit of peace, but they often come in a spirit of contempt. Keep listening.
That's why they ain't like me as a little girl, bitch, because I'm a towel. Bitch, I'm a towel. You out there kissing Petey on the playground, bitch. You nasty whore, we in the 3rd grade, bitch. I'm going to tell. Yes, he pumped me, bitch, but nobody saw it. Oh, I'm a towel. See, I fucks with contracts. That's why niggas got a problem with me. If you sign the motherfucking contract, that's what the fuck it is. But they're so used to niggas fucking around with the contract and being nervous because they might lose an opportunity or a motherfucking chance, so they will redo the contract. I'm not a bitch who's gonna redo the contract. If you sign the motherfucker, that's what the motherfucker is. So tonight, see, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna break it down for you, Detroit, because I would feel less than a motherfucking.
Once again, guys, please forgive me for this very violent language of Monique. But I think what you see in Monique is classic projection. She never takes accountability. She can't see herself ever in the equation. Once again, please forgive me for this violent language. But once again, art imitates life. And you're going to see how Monique could be a manifestation of Precious, the young girl that played her daughter in the movie called Precious. Many of these people, guys, are avatars. If Monique could be an avatar, Monique would be the avatar Precious. Some of these guys are just like the Wizard of Oz. And so once again, guys, you could be dealing with the Monique. And that's why it's important to take your time when it comes down to dating some of these women, and to also to do a self-evaluation. Some of the women that are listening, it's important that you take your time dating some of these men, because narcissistic personality disorders tend to run very rampant in men. But also when it comes down to the women, guys, as my man Sean Whitehorn was on, borderline personalities tend to manifest mostly in the women. And many times it's a byproduct of sexual abuse and also physical abuse. And we live in a time where trauma and dysfunction is so normal that when we see good behavior, we don't know how to deal with it, because dysfunction has become the new normal. So hold tight, guys. Let me finish playing. Hold tight.
Woman, if I didn't let y'all know what the fuck was going on this stage right now. So if my energy is a little different, nigga, because they got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. So the contract, oh, nigga. The motherfucking contract said that a bitch is the headliner. The headliner. Let me say it again, the headliner. That's what the motherfucking contract says. Monique is to be the last motherfucking person on the goddamn stage. She is the headliner. That's what I signed the fuck up for. I'm 30 plus years in this motherfucking business, and I don't open for no goddamn body. The contract said the headliner. The contract said the headliner.
And, you know, it would make you wonder, why is Monique so angry? You know, why is she so angry? She's made her money. Some would say she's past her prime, but why is Monique so angry? And once again, guys, please forgive me for her very negative and vile mouth. Shout out to my man Top Gun. Top Gun said that just checking in after hitting the treadmill to visually build my stamina for my trip to Colombia away from these unstable species. Man, you funny, man. You make me say you're a funny dude, man.
The contract said the headliner, but a nigga named D.L.Hugely turned into a bitch and said, I won't perform if she does that. I won't go out if she does that. Nigga, you open for the kings of comedy. I close for the queens of comedy, nigga. And you think because I don't have a dick, that ain't my position, nigga. So when I leave this motherfucker.
And guys, you see so many masculine women like Monique. You see a lot of masculine women like Monique. They use the D word. You know, they say they have a male phallus. And her mouth is very nasty, very, very, very nasty. I'm not going to play too much more of this because her profanity is too much. I'm going to play a little bit more, but I want you guys to see the behavior and the anger in Monique. And it makes you wonder, how could that man even deal with a woman like that, man? Very toxic, to say the least.
The headliner has left. I don't fuck with nobody. I don't fuck with no motherfucking body. But when you cross the line with me, nigga, you have crossed the motherfucking line. And that bitch, nigga, has crossed the motherfucking line. See, we got a history, nigga. We got a history. That nigga went on a tour talking about all Monique wasn't. You can Google it right now. D.L.Hugely on Monique, all I wasn't, what I wasn't worth, all of this bullshit. And nigga, you put your feet under my motherfucking table. See, you came to my home, nigga, and you put your feet under my motherfucking table. I don't get down like that, goddammit. You got a bitch wrong. You talk about Young Thug, and because of their names, nigga, your name is D.L. What the fuck does it stand for? Hey, how far you bending over, nigga, on the D.L.? You fuck with the wrong one.
And that's what happens, guys. That's what happens. Because they can't hear the truth, they project their anger and pain. And you're right, I'm KP from KC5, and we're going to talk about it. Monique played the perfect role of Precious. She played the perfect role. I mean, not the role, but Precious' mother. But Monique actually was seeing herself, in my opinion, through Precious. Morbidly obese, self-loathing, and she probably was self-loathing due to the trauma that she went through. And, you know, it's been said that Monique has a son that she doesn't really have a good relationship with. She has a lot of unresolved mental duress and mental distress. And that's what some of you guys are dealing with, and some of these women, some of the ladies are dealing with it too. People that have unresolved mental illness. And I say this because my channel is mostly dedicated to male empowerment. And so you got to be able to look at the signals or some of the triggers with some of these women. Until you look at it, guys, then you're not going to be able to see the struggles that they're having and how their struggles are being projected onto you. You got to have enough intestinal fortitude to say, I'm not going to put myself in a position to deal with the women like Monique and the Moniques of the world. Keep listening.
That's my family, nigga. I'm home, nigga. I'm motherfucking home, yo. I go all the way back with Coco in the motherfucking lounge in the back of the bar when they was cooking motherfucking fried fish, bitch. That's me, nigga. That's me, Detroit. I'm the bitch who did fuck a nigga in the car, but bitch, that happened so long ago.
And you notice, guys, you know, you have a large, you know, group of women that, you know, will say, you know, or some, and they'll say, don't call me the B word. But look how she uses and denigrate herself using the B word. And that's what's wrong with women, and that's what's wrong with some women like Monique. They lack self-awareness, but also they have severe issues with cognitive dissonance. Shout out to my man, MC Recovering Wellness. He said that Monique at a red carpet seemed unapproachable, her vibe and energy and face impression, sad looking and cocky. Yes, who's to say she was impacted by or imprinted by those worthless men that violated her? Monique has a lot of unresolved anger, in my opinion. She has a lot of unresolved distress and or duress. And I'm not going to diagnose her, but I won't be surprised if she don't have some kind of unresolved issues with mental illness.
See, black women, let me tell you something. A lot of black men in Hollywood got a problem with me because I got a motherfucking black king. That's my husband. And them niggas can't understand it. They can't fathom it. It makes them motherfucking sick. Because at what time did black men start attacking black women? What kind of real nigga is that? That's a bitch nigga. That's a bitch nigga. What kind of real nigga would ever attack a goddamn black woman? A bitch nigga. I feel sorry for D.L.Hugely's family. I feel sorry for his motherfucking wife. Because how do you suck the dick of a coward?
Oh, wow, her mouth is so... I'm going to stop, guys, because her mouth is horrible. But she said a man that attacked black... And see, that's what happens all the time, guys. Any level of criticism that you give some of these women, shout out to the mature women, but any form of criticism that you give them, they go do some type of cognitive break or what I call a scheme of affliction. And you guys are seeing it manifest right before you. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scott. He said, Kosher, speak of women, these manifest spaces. I noticed how some of the women on the Black Management panel, men's panel, which you were on, mocked the men that were SYSBM, also the women that mock men who are smart. It's okay, man. It don't bother me and it shouldn't bother you all. You should live your best life and live your life on your own terms, because that's what many are beginning to do. Because the question remains, and the question remains as many ask themselves, is Monique really built like that because she didn't clap back with Corey Holcombe? Or is Monique used to weak men and she takes advantage of men of such ilk? Once again, guys, share the content. Thank you for the 25 that are watching. Thank you for those that have donated. And also, guys, if you have not donated, donate to the show. And we're going to continue to break down this discussion with Monique and her wicked shenanigans, because her mouth is filthy. Once again, I apologize for her filthy mouth.
I tried to play fair, bitch. I tried to play fair, nigga. I tried to play fair. We was on the countdown, nigga. 10, 9, 8, 7, check. See, I don't fuck with nobody. And as an entertainer, families.
So you had issues with Oprah. You had issues with Lee Daniels, which I don't really care for either. You had issues with Steve Harvey. You got issues with D.L.Hugely. And so the question remains, is it the people that Monique is dealing with, or is it her? Does Monique see those people as more powerful than her? And because she have a very fragile ego, in order to feel powerful, she must use those people to minimize her greatness. That's what happens many times on YouTube. You got people that will try to minimize your greatness because they have a very fragile ego. And once again, guys, that's a byproduct of unresolved mental illness that was more or less triggered by trauma. And some of it's not even trauma or mental illness. It's just they're wicked and angry. And they got their own demons that need to more or less arrest in order to become the better person.
Off limits. As entertainers, we don't fuck with each other's families. Because for me, that is crossing the line. See, I want to give you all a history so you understand a bitch's position. I want to give you the history, mama, so you understand. See, when I look at my wives and sisters, and she look at me like this, get that, nigga. Thank you, mama. See.
So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop it here, guys. I'm gonna stop it here. But what are you guys thinking about the meta madness of Monique? What are you guys thinking about the meta madness associated with Monique? And I'm sure you guys have seen women like Monique in the past. And then you got to ask yourself the question: how does such behaviors like Monique impact you in a negative way? How has it begun to impact you overall? Because we live in a time now when people do behaviors like Monique, you ask yourself the question, what's wrong with that chick? What's wrong with that dude for doing the things that they're doing? And once again, guys, unresolved issues with mental illness. I'm going to pull up a clip that D.L.Hugely said, or more or less talked about it. And the whole time you bring this file up, and we're going to explore this one as well. Hold tight. And we got to ask ourselves the question once again, what's wrong with Monique? What's wrong with her? What's causing her to do the things that she's doing?
All right, that was Khalid talk.
Now, this is D.L.Hugely talking about the issues, or more or less the struggles that Monique more or less accosted onto him. And we're going to look at it and break it down. But I want to ask you guys a question. Have you ever dated a woman like Monique? If you have dated a woman like Monique, I want you to hit 1. Were you disappointed in Monique because you thought that Monique would be a better person? But is it true to what Top Gun said, that Monique is just is Monique just a granny serpent? Is she more of the same? That's the question that we got to ask ourselves as it relates to Monique. Shout out to Gregory Scotland. He said that, yes, some can't take critique. Chantel Simone stated she's getting death threats. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all, because they are deaf. They are deaf, and they will rather have a satanic ego. They think those wicked behaviors, guys, are negative, are normal. And that's what happens when you tell folks the truth. Now, they don't want to hear the truth. And that's why when people say, you know, let's do this and that, and I'm not against saving the community, but it's a lot of unresolved mental illness. Anytime you try to give people death threats because they speak their opinion or speak facts, that lets you know, guys, that those people have some unresolved issues and that they're very wicked, because Chantel Simone's a good young lady. And once again, this what happens when you have what's called ego syntonia. That's mental illness. They think that what they are thinking is normal. They think that those behaviors that they are having is normal. When you want to kill a person or take a person's life because they don't believe in what you believe in, then that's a problem. And, you know, you can't build a community until you see yourself or the issues associated with your sad, bad behavior. But that's what we're dealing with, guys. Now, we're dealing with people like that because many have cognitive dissonance. So we're going to listen to what D.L.Hugely said about Monique. I modified this video. Once again, it took me a while to get all this stuff together, guys, a couple of hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours, but I modified it so that we can have a cogent conversation, but also so that you guys can get the gist of Monique and what she's been saying. Listen.
Very hard to control the environment I work in comedically. I only work where I want to work and who I want to work for. I want to work with. I don't work because that is a very precious place to me. I've been offered a gig, a couple of gigs, 3 or 4 gigs to work with Monique in L.A., in Brooklyn, in Houston, and I turned them down because I didn't think it would work. So after talking to a lot of people, and one of the very people in this room about how things are different, 2 of the very people in this room, as a matter of fact, and how things are different, and look at how things are coming around, I decided it would be wrong for me not to give somebody a chance based on things that they'd never done to me. That would have been wrong to me. And when she talks, if she goes on her diatribe and she talks about me having my feet under her table, that was at her invitation. I was doing a gig in Greenbelt, Maryland. She lived in Baltimore. She was having a fight party. It was, I think, Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. And sure enough, I came to her table at her.
Shout out to Top Gun for that $5 super sticker. He said that every black man had dealt with that many have. And that's why we're going to have these conversations. Shout out to Swaggertude. He says she's suffering from burnt bridges. She ruined a lot of great opportunities because of her attitude and bad advice from Sydney. And that's what happens, guys, when you can't look at yourself. That's what happens when people can't see the error of their way. And that's why you guys have to save yourself. Because a part of mental wellness is knowing how to set boundaries, but also it's part of knowing when to walk away. You got to know when to walk away when dealing with people like Monique or people of such ilk. Keep listening.
Invitation. And it was a wonderful time. As a matter of fact, it was based on that interaction, along with talking to people, I decided that I would do these gigs. I decided I would do it. And now I know what Tyler Perry knows, I know what Lee Daniels knows, I know what Oprah knows, I know what Steve Harvey knows, I know what Charlamagne the God knows, I know what Netflix knows. Saying yes to Monique is an occupational hazard. Now, we're playing a gig in Detroit this weekend. I know I'm going on at 9:45. I leave the hotel. I get there around 9. Monique had just gotten there. She's supposed to be there at 8:40. She had just gotten there, gone at 8:40. She got there at 8:38. What Monique was trying to do was to slow walk the show. She didn't end up getting on for 30 minutes. The oldest trick in the world is, if I want to change the order and I don't have merit, I'll try to make people wait so long that everybody gets nervous and go, please, just go on so we can avoid a conflict. That didn't happen. Monique got on stage. Monique actually felt like she had merit. She would have done 1 of 3 things. Either she would have took it up with the promoter, and she did, and the promoter said, we're going on, and whether you're going or not, that's a different thing. You would have not done it, but she knew she had to get on stage, or she would have been in breach of contract, or she would have come to talk to me. She didn't ever, and I emphatically emphasize this, she never once talked to me. I haven't seen Monique in years. I didn't see her at the venue before, after, or during. I haven't spoken or seen Monique. So if you really thought that you had a legitimate contract dispute, you would have come to me and said, hey, I have this contract and you had this contract. Notice not one thing on that contract, not one person she has on that contract, not one thing happened. Do you know why? Because it wasn't legitimate. And she goes on stage and she proceeds.
So let's look at it, guys. Let's look at it. Because what DL is talking about, we could ask ourselves the question, does Monique have narcissistic personality disorder with a combination of comorbid issues like PTSD? I'm not going to diagnose Monique. I'm not saying that. So I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not saying she has a mental illness, but it makes you wonder. Some of the triggers with narcissistic personality disorder are exaggerated sense of worth. Many have what's called a narcissistic injury. Many want narcissistic supply. Let's look at it. Narcissistic injury is when you give them any level of criticism And because their egos are very fragile, they feel that you have accosted them. If you give them any critiques, they become very enraged and angry because somewhere, guys, there's a mental deficit going on. And somewhere, because they've been broken, they think that you're trying to hurt them. So they have a narcissistic injury. You give them a critique, they have a narcissistic injury, but they need constant adoration. They have issues with grandiosity. And they have also something called a narcissistic supply. So we got to ask ourselves the question, is Monique really built like that? Is she really built like that? Or does Monique have issues with unresolved mental illness? People like Monique, not Monique, but people with this disorder they're victims of trauma. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but Monique was sexually violated by her brother and also by some boys in her neighborhood. We don't know if this caused Monique to have a break. We don't know if it caused her to have unresolved trauma. And I'm going to say this, sadly, many times in the ADOS community, we don't get the mental health and the wellness that we need. So you have walking time bombs, people suffering through trauma. And see, I'm going to do a show at some point called YouTube and the Walking Avatars. Many people that have been traumatized actually create characters. They create characters on YouTube. They create characters in movies. The character helped them to live through their trauma. It helps them to go to a place of comfort because sometimes the trauma was so hurtful and so painful, it helps them to more or less go do a covering. But many people are living through avatars. What you see on the screen is not who they really are. Tyler Perry talked about the abuse that he had. And he talked about how he would create caricatures, especially in Hollywood, so that he would not be more or less in a state of distress. Keep listening.
To eviscerate me, not just me, but Steve Harvey, the sexual, my wife, my dog later on in subsequent conversation. Let me ask you something. What did any of that have to do with an alleged contract dispute?
Right. Death. She attacks the messenger instead of the message. Monique has... Monique is a victim of cognitive dissonance, guys. She's a victim of it. Because as D.L.Hugely said, why is she attacking his daughter and his wife? What do they have to do with their issue? She's deaf, denies the evidence, becomes enraged when you present her with the evidence. She argues to do ad hominem attacks where she attacks the messenger instead of the message, and she fights or she flees. Once again, another issue that you can see is identity disturbance. Very manipulative, have difficulty with attachment. People that have mental illness have difficulty with attachment. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Issues with life transitions. Those are a couple of typos. I didn't review it, but that's a couple of typos. But issues with life transitions. Projections, could she be projecting from the movie called Precious? Displaced aggression. And then hypervigilance, which could be a byproduct of PTSD, but also can be a byproduct of narcissistic personality disorders that are combined together.
What does Steve Harvey have to do with your contract? What did I have to do with your contract? What did my dog have to do with your contract? What does my wife have to do with your contract? You wrote your contract, you and your daddy. You proceeded to say things that were so patently insulting that it was galling. It was galling. You asked in subsequent conversations why I have a dog, a support dog, what kind of person has a support dog. I have that dog because my father died. My children and family decided they would get a dog from where he was from, and I named the dog after my father. I don't have a dog to keep people away from me. I have a dog so I have my father with me all the time. That is an act of love which you know very little about. You proceeded to assault my sexuality. You have the temerity to assault someone's sexuality, a man's sexuality, given who you lay next to? None of that had anything to do with alleged contract dispute. You could have taken that up with a lawyer. You would have gotten out. You could have not gone on stage, but you knew you didn't have a valid contract. And you do what you always have done. You tried to weaponize black femininity. You tried to turn that audience against me. You tried to burn everything down. Like you do all the time. Who calls Netflix and thinks I can get $10 million because I did the Queens of Comedy? Who thinks you can get on stage and still live off that? I was a king of comedy. You never hear me talking about it because in this business, like any other, it isn't what you have done, it's what you do. That show was one I signed on to do. I made the quintessential mistake, the horrible mistake that like Tyler Perry, like Lee Daniels, like Oprah, like all these people of saying yes to you. And it is an occupational hazard. It is my fault. I have learned my lesson. You didn't just, and the thing that bothers me the most isn't the things that you said, because I know who I am and I know what I do. And I have a pristine reputation. And everybody who knows me know what I'm about. It's this whole, my dear, my babies, I love you for real, which is so transparently false, it is ridiculous. But the thing that was really the...
So what do you guys think about some of the things that D.L.Hugely is saying? What are you guys thinking about what D.L. is saying? I know I forgot the game is on tonight, man. I got to start playing these shows better, not around the game. But what do you guys think about what D.L. is saying about Monique? Are you surprised? Are you shocked? Or you're not shocked, to say the least? What do you guys think about what D.L. is saying about Monique and her negative associations towards him?
Most annoying, the thing that was really the most bothersome is after a terrible couple of weeks where people were being slain in Buffalo, where people were being slain, kids are getting slain in school, and people had come to a comedy show to get away from all of their problems, you besieged them with yours. The one contract that isn't in dispute is the one that the audience had with us to entertain them. But every single time, more and more, you spend half of your time talking about your grievances and what you didn't get and who did this to you. Listen, when you burn things up and you sit back to watch the results of them, she's literally set that stage on fire, said the most incendiary things ever, and I had to go on stage. She has the temerity to call me a coward. A coward would have left. A coward would have said, I can't go. You didn't even want to go on when you had a contract that you knew that not to be true. You made up this whole narrative that you knew not to be true, and you played that out in front of the audience. And then I had to go on behind you. And you know what you did? You sat back and you tried to watch your damage. You set the stage on fire and you watched what you've done. You know who does that? Arsonists do that. Arsonists set shit on fire and try to see the damage it drives. But I blame myself because I know now what I didn't before. Saying yes to you is an occupational hazard, one I will not repeat. I don't blame you. I wish you well. But when you do the things you do, when everything's about you, when you're vitriolic, when you have all these fights with all of these entities, it is you. Precious was not a movie. Precious was an autobiography. That is who you are, literally. You mad at the contract you and daddy wrote, your daddy? And I don't know why you call a man daddy and you pay for him. That's a son. Let's be clear. I am not angry with you. I'm angry with me. I did what I knew not to be true. But I'm going to tell you something. When you burn and you destroy and you wreck, you are not a queen of comedy. You're a queen of ashes. Now, I'm going to go back to work and you get back to your kingdom of smoke. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L.Hugely Show.
Let's just get into what really happened in
Did you have the same level of vitriol? I apologize. The same level of vitriol for D.L.Hugely. Once again, if you guys didn't hear me earlier, I had my thing on mute. Kenny Atkinson was named the head coach for the Charlotte Hornets. Can you guys hear me now? Everybody saying they can't hear me. No sound? All right. Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, hit 1. I don't know why everybody said they can't hear me. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, hit 1. Can you hear me? All right, hold tight. I don't know why you can't hear me because it's not muted. Okay, good. All right, perfect. But yeah, but Kenny Atkins is going to be the coach for the Hornets. But she didn't have that smoke for Corey Holcombe because I don't think that Monique is really built like that. Listen.
Detroit, where Monique went on stage and dogged D.L.Hugely as a replacement set for no having jokes. If you talented and you got jokes, you gonna prioritize your talent over all of the bullshit.
You can always go in ham after, right? Like,
You can go ham after.
Yeah.
But when you ain't got no jokes, when you've been see, there was a time when Monique was able to get away with the fat jokes.
And once again, guys, please forgive the language. Forgive the language. I do not endorse the language of some of these comedians, but for the sake of education and also some level of entertainment, see it for what it is. Once again, I do not endorse the vile language of these comedians, but to see it for what it is, guys.
And the dick jokes, because that's all she ever did. Yeah. Shit, I motherfucker, he don't know. If I sit on him, he gonna be like, that yak buffoonery ass shit.
Oh my God.
It's got a TV show, and motherfucker don't even understand it. Yeah. Monique won an award for the movie Precious. But look at the movie Precious. That's what they give niggas awards for. Buffoonery. The worst mom in cinematographic history was Monique. And I'm not talking shit because I'm some hater. I'm talking shit because this bitch disrespects everybody.
You guys, are you guys saying you can't hear sound? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Hold on for a minute. Some of you are saying you can't hear sound, so I don't know why you can't hear sound. Going in, I don't know, what does that mean? Can you hear or you can't hear? Can you hear the sound or you can't hear the sound?
Everybody get it from her. Everybody. I was so mad when she did that shit to Charlamagne, and now here it is. All between all the people always talking about how she done burnt bridges with this motherfucker, burnt bridges with that motherfucker. Look, ain't none of us perfect in the comedy game, but I'm not finna motherfucker spend my time on stage making excuses for not being funny by talking about somebody else.
Did you hear how I said it went afterwards?
What do you mean how I said it went out afterwards?
Because she did that in the beginning, right?
No. What jokes she cracked?
No,
did you hear her crack some jokes?
No, I'm talking about that little
talking
part
about the
right
whole
there.
thing?
That was the beginning of her set, right?
So you think she just did 5 minutes of the shit, huh? She didn't have no material, so she went up there, found a way to get through the time by talking shit about DL. Where the jokes, bitch? The fat jokes and the little dick jokes and that shit done played out. It's too many people that watched comedy. Too many people watch comedy. So when you go up there, shit, I saw his dick, I said, that's all you working with? That bullshit ain't working no more. Especially not in Detroit.
So your company got to evolve.
All them motherfuckers who have not evolved are being transitioned out of the game. Now I know people got shit to say about DL. People got shit to say about DL. DL has taken up for that motherfucking shot that they gave people that fucked everybody up. DL got some motherfucking dirt on him, but old girl went on stage talking about DL wife is sucking on A coward's dick.
Whoa, I didn't even know that.
She went a little far talking about family and shit.
I heard D.L. Mama was in the audience.
You lie.
Yeah.
And once again, guys, you got to ask yourself the question, is she really built like that? See, women like Monique attack people that she knows that she can get away with. But see, when you got a spirit of a bully like Monique, you know that she didn't have that same smoke for CoreyHolcombe. So the question remains, she is aware of what she's doing, but is she willing to take accountability? Because she knows that CoreyHolcombe will have eviscerated her. And once again, guys, the bully always strives to eat the lunch of the assailant. And that's why many times women like Monique won't deal with masculine men. Some of the women in our community won't deal with masculine men because they know what masculine men will do. And they know that masculine men are not going to back down.
Oh, wow.
Talking about his wife sucking on a coward's dick.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Her husband.
Once again, guys, please forgive me for the language. But for the sake of conversation, the language is a little terse. But for the sake of conversation.
Did the contract. Why you ain't headlining? What kind of dick he got?
What if his wife would have went and did
a dumb contract dick?
Did a Will Smith on her.
His wife ain't gonna do no Will Smith on Monique. Monique built to wrestle. You seen how she built? Monique built to wrestle. Monique head look like my chest.
I cannot.
So she look like she wrestled gators.
Right. That's a hippo head heifer.
Oh.
Monique got a motherfucking rhino head, dog. If Monique do this to a bitch in the chest, that bitch gonna die.
Oh, God, I can't.
But no, you talking about his wife sucking a cow with dick. What kind of dick you sucking on? He fucked up your contract. You didn't headline because you didn't have the bargaining chips you went up there and perpetrated you had. You don't have them type of bargaining chips. In her set on stage, she said D.L.Hugely opened for the Kings of Comedy, and she was the headliner. Now that is not accurate information. She wasn't the headliner at all the motherfucking Queens of Comedy days, but what it was, she had the buffoonery TV show. She was the bitch who had the TV show, so she bitched till she got some headlining slots. Yeah. The funniest motherfucker on the Queens of Comedy is motherfucking, do I have to say it? Who the funniest motherfucker on the Queens of Comedy? Some more. We just going off talent. And motherfucking my homegirl Adele Givens has cracked jokes that motherfuckers remember. Yeah. What joke has Monique ever cracked that you could say right now? I know when I ate that donut, I was like, oh my God. That sucker ass shit out of here. Nobody want to watch that shit. You bragged about being the headliner on the Queens of Comedy, but watch this. Watch this. Y'all ready for this? America, you ready for this? The building wasn't half full. Oh. So if you such a headliner, why you couldn't fill up the building? The building wasn't half full.
Like the WNBA.
I'll be there in December. We might do 2 shows. And I ain't never had a TV show. Them people ain't fuck with me because I ain't going to get on there and say, God damn it, that hog mog make me go.
I cannot.
Get that sucker ass comedy the fuck out of here. All you can do is talk bitter shit. The fuck is you talking about? You sitting up here shitting on motherfuckers, bragging on your resume. Your contract wasn't right. Your resume obviously ain't shit. Didn't you win a movie for being the worst cinematographic mom in the history of movies? Watch Precious.
Ain't shit precious about it.
So basically, at the end of the day, how would you word it that should have taken place?
Somebody say she a good actress. Okay, let's give her a good actress. 50 Cent said he about to put her in his shit.
Uh-huh.
So 50 Cent could maybe help the bitch. But in comedy, no. You know you ain't shit, so you start shit.
I hate
this is called insecure bitch syndrome.
But also, guys, it's called gaslighting. Monique could be gaslighting to justify some of her behavior. Definitely she has some insecurities, but that could be coming from a fragile ego. And some of you guys are dating women like Monique. Some of you women are dating people that have some of the same mannerisms of a Monique. Entitled, lack of self-reflection, and lack of doing the right thing.
All bitches who are insecure about shit find ways to jump shit off, try to get all the women on your side and all that shit. Bitch, you ain't crack no jokes. You didn't crack no jokes.
So you basically...
What are jokes?
So was it just an unprofessional move? She shouldn't have just...
She went up there and shitted all over that man. DL didn't shit all over her. DL got a corporate job. He getting corporate money. He can't do the same shit she do.
It was like he was just answering her back.
I'm not making no excuses for him because I'd have did the shit anyway. Motherfucker go on stage. A fat bitch talking shit about me. You better be a bad bitch talking shit about me. You better be a bad bitch talking shit about me.
But I would ask you guys a question. Why didn't Monique have that same smoke for CoreyHolcombe? Why did she have the same smoke for CoreyHolcombe? Because it appears that she did not have the same smoke for a CoreyHolcombe. And why is that? Where was the smoke for Corey? Where was the smoke? GC from LA said what Monique did was very destructive. And what Monique is doing is what a lot of doing, especially some of our women, they have very savage behavior, very animal-like behavior. They lack resolve or regard for the feelings of others. And like Raekwon the Man would say, Raekwon the Man said it better than me.
Yeah, put chain on them balls on my mom. They be broken balls. Kill some of my mom. They back me look like that's on my monkey. That's on my monkey. That's on my monkey.
Yeah, that's on my mama. Raekwon and Man can say it better than me. But we're gonna drop the stream in a minute after I finish going through this clip, guys. And is Monique really built like that? Or is Monique dealing with unresolved mental distress, but also mental distress and a very violent personality and violent nature?
Going in.
That'd have been a sight to see if you went up. You went
because they have been going. So they have been going back and forth on.
The most memorable stage moment I can think of with her is when she did the Fat Girls doing Beyonce shit. Got me going so crazy right now. It was a whole bunch of fat bitches and her dancing like Beyonce. That's the funniest shit I ever seen her do, and it's still buffoonery. Sell out some shows on some jokes. You can't. No matter what you say about who you are, I'm 30 years in the game. The building was half full. Groupon tickets. It happens sometimes, but it ain't the show. I'm not finna be bragging about who I am in a theater that's half full in Detroit full of niggas, Michigan. Motherfuckers would have bought the ticket, but they looked at that shit, and I know everybody who was on that ticket. They was like, nope. Like, fuck with that pussy ass show.
I hate to see her get into it with 50 Cent, boy. She burn that bridge, boy.
She ain't gonna burn 50 Cent bridge until she get enough money. Then she'll tell 50 Cent to kiss her ass. Because she's...
Right, and you guys are seeing the brokenness in Monique. The brokenness. Top Gun called her the granny serpent. The granny serpent is Monique. And some of the women you're dealing with have what's called granny serpent behavior as well. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to drop the link. Let's have a conversation. I got a powerful show on tomorrow called The Medusa Complex. And just like Monique has a Medusa complex. She can't see herself because if she look in the mirror, then she will crack. Some of you guys are dealing with women that have the Medusa complex. Shout out to K-Dot. He said these simps, baby mamas are basically becoming cucks. sitting online worshiping black women while they beg white men for attention. They lucky white men don't want their. That's funny. All right. All right, guys. So I'm going to drop the link. Let's have a conversation. What do you think about Monique? Is she really built like that? Or is Monique a manifestation of unresolved mental illness and distress? Is she really built like that? I know some of you guys are looking at the game, and thank you for the 25 that are watching. I appreciate you guys coming in. If you have not shared the content, please share the stream. If you have not donated, donate to the channel because there's a lot of meta madness going on, and the meta madness makes you wonder and ask yourself the question, what were they thinking about? What was Monique thinking about when she said the things she said? What was Monique thinking about when she did the things that she is doing? What was she thinking about? And when people continue to do the things that Monique is doing, it makes you wonder if they will ever see the error of their way. It makes you wonder because some say that there's no incentive for women like Monique to change. There's no incentive for the modern woman to change because they have power. And that's why I implore you young men to continue to love yourselves and to continue to look within yourselves to get the best outcomes that are going to help you become the better person. But Monique, once again, guys, is a manifestation of so many. Let's look at, hold tight. I'm going to actually let me look at this clip of her husband. Hold tight. Because some say that Monique's husband is a simp. But then some say that Monique's husband is right on time. And they said that, hold tight. They were saying something about that what she did was justified, and I'm trying to see what she's talking. So what do you think about Monique's husband? I think his name is Kenny. What do you guys think about Monique and D.L.Hugely? What do you guys think about her? What do you guys think about Monique? Monique's husband. Is he a simp or is he just a player using Monique? What do you guys think? So the link has been dropped, but in the meantime, let's look at this guy that many says was truly a clown. All right, so Monique addressed D.L.Hugely and haters. I'm not backing up. I'm not going out quiet. So let's look at it, guys. Let's look at it. Do you think Monique's husband is weak? Or do you think he's a man that does not care about Monique and is using her for his own good? So let's look at it. Let's look at it real quick. Hold tight. GC from GCLA said that the DL management is UTA, the largest entertainment in the world. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Top Gun said when she run out of cash, he will 40 us a dash. Well, some of the guys are saying he's a beta. So let's see. Let's look at the screen. And guys, please join in if you would like to. Let's have a conversation at some point. Because many don't believe that he's really built like that. Hold tight. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. Hold tight. Hold tight. I gotta find it. All right. Okay, hold tight. All right, so let's talk about it. And once again, I won't play too much of this because even though it's fair use, I'm not the owner of this content, but I am claiming fair use. So hold tight, guys. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. But I'm going to run the little excerpt because you never know with YouTube. Fair use. All right. So some are saying that he's a son husband. That's interesting. But let's check it out.
Well, Daddy, because we didn't say anything about us going to do a live, we're going to wait for some of the babies to come on in the room. Come on, my babies. Come on, my babies.
When you guys look at Monique, what do you guys see in Monique? Do you see a woman that's broken, a woman that's angry and evil? What do you guys see in a woman like Monique? What do you guys see in a woman like Monique? What do you guys see? Let's talk about it. But I'm not going to play all of this. It's long. But the link has been dropped, so you guys can come in a few minutes. I know some of you guys are looking at the game, but I'm going to sign off. I'm not going to be before you long. But what do you guys think?
We just want y'all to come on in this here room. Please come on. Tag all the people you know. Tell them, come on over. Tag the rags. Tell them, come on over. Tag, remember they used to call the gossip papers the rags paper?
The rags.
The rags, yeah, come on. Come on in. Oh, come on in, my sweet babies. Because we truly need to have this conversation. And let me just say this. We want to thank everybody that's going to join us right now. I'm sorry, babe.
No.
We want to thank everybody that's going to give us your time and come on in the room. Come on. And we want you to tag the ones.
Right.
That has the most to say.
Right.
Come on.
Shout out to Sweet Lulu Bean. I agree with her 1,000%. She's right. Big Shirley Monique chose DL because she thought he was a soft target who was popular enough to bring her the attention that she wanted for her agenda. Yes. And people that have narcissistic traits will employ acting out behavior to get attention. KD said, I see gentle masculinity. Eugene Allen said that bitter woman trying to come up. And so a lot of people feel like he's a punk. We begin to uplift Monique in the past, but many are thinking that Monique really has the spirit of the hyena. Top Gun says she's a granny simp. But many feel like she had the spirit of the hyena, but also a satanic ego. Satanic ego. She thinks what she's doing is normal.
Come on, my babies.
When you come in for your performance health assessment, we are going to take a very detailed.
Come on, sweetnesses.
And so do you guys think her husband's a simp for agreeing to an open marriage? Or do you guys think he's just using her because she's a broken money woman for money? You think he's a homosexual? A guy that's just using her for money and a place to rest his head because he knows she's broken. She's not the most attractive, and her better days are over. What do you guys think? Keep listening.
How are you today?
Daddy, I'm wonderful.
Fantastic.
How you doing?
If I was to complain, I'm telling the universe that I am ungrateful. And I refuse to do that.
Come on now. Don't make me get to smiling, Daddy, because I got to talk now. I got to say it.
Why can't we still say what you need to say with a smile on your face?
You right, baby. You right. All right, here we go. Hey, my sweet babies. To all of y'all. Now, some of y'all in your feelings and y'all don't want to be my sweet babies right now, but if you in here, hey, my sweet babies, let's have this conversation. So...
And please excuse the background noise. We didn't know when we started this that the landscaping was going to come.
Please don't tell them to stop. We're going to get them to stop, my babies. Because we really want y'all to hear this. And yes, this is a homegrown live. This ain't no big production. This ain't with the lights, camera, action. This is us sitting in our family room having a conversation with the community. This is us sitting in the family room. Look at it like you in the basement at the auntie and uncle house. Did you tell him that? Thank you, baby. So, let's have this conversation, please. Earlier today, we did a post. And we did a post with D.L.Hugely having a conversation about how his daughter was violated from a really good friend of his. And at the time, he didn't say anything.
Well, I don't understand the question, guys. Why is it that these people, when they have an issue with something you said, they attack the children? Keep the babies out of it. If you want to attack somebody, attack the person. But keep children, wives, and spouses out of it. That's wicked and it's very cowardly. And it's very cowardly. And it's sad, man. And I'm going to tell you something. If Monique was, or she definitely was molested, because she wanted that open relationship, Monique could be hypersexual. Let me see if I can find something on her sexual abuse issue. Hold tight. Hold tight. Let me see if I can find it, guys. All right. Let's redo something, guys, real quick. I'm going to read something to you guys real quick. Hold tight. Let's see if I can clip this thing off. All right. Let's see if we can find it real quick. I'm going to stop this real quick. Let's go do this because some of you guys didn't know that she was abused by her brother as a child. So let's go do this. Is old. This was 10 years old, guys. This is 10 years old. But I don't know why this thing is constantly doing this for. But anyway, so Monique's brother said, "I'm not a monster." I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know. Hold tight. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but every time I bring it up, it keeps covering. But anyway, her brother says that I'm not a monster. This was about 12 years ago. The brother of Oscar Award winner Monique apologized to her today for years of sexual abuse during her childhood. And once again, guys, this proves my point. Monique is dealing with a lot of unresolved mental health issues, in my professional opinion. Could be borderline, but could be narcissistic personality disorder. Not going to diagnose her because that would be inappropriate without the proper clinical impression and information. But he said, "I'm sorry, Monique. I'm sorry." Gerald M. said today on Oprah Winfrey, "I betrayed everyone I trust. I broke the trust. I broke the bond. 37 years later, I'm admitted for the first time to the sexual abuse of his then 7-year-old sister while they were growing up in Baltimore. He was 13 years old." But we wonder why so many of these people walking around are like walking time bombs. If you look at Tasha K, she had a lot of vitriol for select content creators as well. Tasha K was, I think, sexually abused as a child. And so when people are sexually abused, in order to deal with the pain, they create personas, but also they seek to get power. He said, "The hardest part for me was to admit that I did something wrong. I downplayed it." He said, "If you think I did something wrong, then I'm sorry I did it. I'm not proud of it." I'm said that, hold tight. I'm said that his own problems with drugs and alcohol spurred the sexual abuse. I started using cocaine, heroin, and alcohol at the age of 11. What child, guys, is using cocaine, heroin, and alcohol at the age of 11? "I use these drugs to hide my pain." That's self-medication. "To hide my fears. The drugs allowed me and afforded me the opportunity to hurt my sister." And see, guys, when you grow up in families where you don't have strong fathers, when you have very chaotic communities and the kids are at risk, people keep saying I'm muted. Kids are at risk for levels of distress and levels of pain. I hope you guys are saying nothing. I hope nobody's muted me because I'm not muted, so I don't know what's going on. Shout out to Tim Howard. Top Gun said Baltimore. He said, say no more. But anyway, but that's what happens when you don't have strong, intact families. You don't have fathers protecting the children. You don't have masculine men in the home being the watchdog for their children. That's what happens. Her brother said that the abuse took place at night when he thought Monique was asleep, he said, and continued for a year or two. It happened more than I wanted to, he said. I became a perpetrator. I abused and betrayed the trust of my own sister. Can you imagine being sexually abused over and over again by a brother or a sister? That's sick and twisted. And you wonder why Monique is perhaps hyposexual. Remember, she got an open relationship. This woman is damaged, and many times they never recover. They learn to cope, but they never recover from the trauma, and they never recover from the pain. I don't know why I'm keep fading in and out, guys. I don't know what's going on. But let me turn this thing up some. I hope it's not too loud. Maybe I need to stay closer to the mic. But guys, I got a good show on tomorrow talking about the Medusa Complex. Greg Wisconsin, I'm really getting tired of these phony such as Monique, Jada, and Viggo Fox. And well, yeah, I think we all are, brother. I'm said that he was a victim of molestation during his youth, which sent him on a downward spiral to abuse drugs and molest Monique. And guys, this goes back to Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin was molested, and he got caught up in pornography. The singer, his name was Robert Kelly, when he was innocent, and he had an alter ego called R. Kelly. And, you know, we minimize the struggle and the pain of a R. Kelly, even though what he did was horrendous, not trying to minimize what he did. But we don't look at the symptomology that led to the behavior. I'm saying he was a victim of molestation during his youth. And what happens many times, guys, is that the perpetrators of abuse many times were abused themselves. He said that I did my own molestation and pain, guilt, and shame. I thought it was my fault that these things happened. I internalized it. I hid my drugs and alcohol. He said, I'm not a monster. I'm her brother. He said he never told his sister to come forward, and he never groomed her or lured her with candy, as his sister told Essence Magazine in 2008. Wow. Monique on the abuse of fear. Monique, 42, opened up to Barbara Walters. Hold on. Now listen, look at this, guys. And this is the sick, twisted stuff that happens when you don't have strong fathers and watching over the kids. But sadly, this young boy was molested too. Monique opened up on Barbara Walters about the extent of her sexual abuse, which she said consisted of touching her breast, someone rubbing her private part, vagina, someone rubbing her behind, someone rubbing up against you with their private parts. She told Waters that fear prevented her from telling her parents. I think for the same reason most people don't tell, you're afraid, and I was afraid of my brother, she said. And so who's to say that Monique now, in order to feel powerful, she had to accost the people that hurt her. In order to feel powerful, Monique must accost the people that hurt her. Shout out to Tim Howard, and shout out to Top Gun said that makes sense that the movie Precious took her back to that dark place. Right. It's art imitating life, guys. What you see with Monique is art imitating life. And that goes back to the schema affliction that I was talking about. But it is art precisely imitating life. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland. Gregory Scotland said for that $10 super sticker.
That's a bet,
that's
right?
a
That's
deal,
a
right?
deal, right? That's a deal,
shout out to
right?
D-May. D-May said
That's
that
a bet, right?
Monique
That's a
really
deal,
took
right?
it
That's
there.
a deal, right?
That was a reach, very emasculating. She's just exposed how men are being treated by most of these modern women. I'm sad. And thank you, D-May, for that $5 super sticker, brother. I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Cortez Smith said an alter ego had an alter ego called the Pied Piper. And I think you're right. But it does make sense, Top Gun. It makes sense with the movie Precious, because Precious was a representation of who she was. She told Walters that she feared, the fear prevented her from telling her parents. I think for the same reason most people don't tell you afraid. Monique said that the only apology she ever got from her brother was half-hearted, which means he probably didn't really feel any remorse because he's broken. The apology I got from my brother is, if you think I did something wrong, then I'm sorry. If you deal with a person, guys, to say, if you think I did something wrong, that means that they don't take culpability or they don't take accountability. And if a person say that, guys, they have a thinking disorder or a thinking error called denial. They're in denial. So they'll say, if you think I did you wrong, then I'm sorry. Well, you're not sorry if you got to qualify by saying, if you think I did you wrong. That means they can't come to grips with their own transgressions. They have the Medusa Complex. They cannot look at themselves, because if they look at themselves, they don't like what they see, and they begin to crack. I'm going to talk about mirror therapy, too, at some point. I'm saying he wished that his sister would have addressed her pain and raised the issue privately with the family before she started sharing it with the world. I can understand that. He said, I'm hurt. I feel like this could have been done in the house to the point that everyone else wouldn't have been exposed. Monique said that she was able to use the abuse experience when she accepted the role of a lifetime playing the abusive mother Mary and Precious, based on the novel by Sapphire. And once again, guys, it's projection and it's vicarious trauma. She was able to live through the avatar of Precious, like someone said earlier. That's how she was able to win an Oscar, because she was acting out her trauma. Tyler Perry talked about the trauma of being abused by his dad. And people develop alter egos to help them deal with that trauma. And it's unfortunate, guys. That's why we need families. That's why we need strong families. My brother was a monster to me, she told Essence Magazine. I became my brother when Lee Daniels called action on the set. Wow. So basically, Monique was living through her trauma of the trauma impacted on her by her brother. And so her alter ego, when she probably went through something called splitting, Monique was able to see her brother through herself. And she took on the role of perpetrator. That's why she did so well. She was able to win a nomination or Oscar, because she was literally acting out her pain, because it was true to her and it was so real to her. Her performance earned her kudos with the Academy Award and Globe for the Best Supporting Actress. In her Globe acceptance speech, Monique dedicated her award to the victims of abuse. And with all the Precious, with all the Marys, I celebrate this award, and it's okay. I'm not going to read all this. Okay, no, I'm about to finish, all right. Imes called his sister's performance amazing, but he said when he learned that his actions inspire her character, he said he felt like a piece of crap. People that have been abused and traumatized must feel power, because they felt powerless when they were being abused. Many of these women, and some of the men, but since our channel is dedicated to empowering men, when you see them acting out, it's due to powerlessness. And now that they have a platform, they can feel powerful. Some of these women that are ranting over the things that men did to them, they overgeneralize by accosting that we're all men. Some of the men do the same thing. But once again, my channel is dedicated to having male conversations. The woman that you are dealing with, she might transfer some of her struggles onto you because she see you as a perpetrator of her pain. That's why it's important to get therapy. It's important to get self-introspection. She said, I'm not angry by the statements made by coming forth. I'm proud that she was able to come to a place where she could release her pain, he said. Oz went on to serve 15 years, wow, in prison for sexual abuse of his sister, another girl. He said he was already made amends for the alleged abuse. And that's what happens. The abused become abusers. I'm saying he was denied abuse. He denied the abuse for so long because he was afraid of the consequences. But he came forward today in hopes of reuniting with his sisters. He said, I can only hope by coming forth today, there's something down the line we can come back together. He said, I understand your pain. I truly think let's share this together. Now you can see me and apologize to you. Now let's bring our family back together. Yeah, that's sad, man. And that's dark to know that a person was sexually abused by their brother. That's sad. It's sad, guys, and it's very dark. I'm going to finish playing a little bit of this clip, guys. I'm going to end it in about another hour or so, unless you guys want to come up and talk. If not, we will end it. I got a good show for you guys on tomorrow. I've been very busy, guys, very busy. Thought I was going to take some time off to relax, but I didn't. But such is life, such is life. All right, hold tight. All right. All right. Fair use, fair use.
Thing, because he didn't want to jeopardize that relationship with a really good friend, and he didn't believe his daughter. We posted that. And then we left a caption under that, pretty much saying, if that black man couldn't put any protection around his own daughter, we know we have nothing coming. Now, once we posted that, the reason why I said, Daddy, can we go do a live? Because I was reading the comments on the timeline. And most of them are from black women. And they're saying, some, Monique, what does this have to do with your contract? What does this have to do? You're going too far. What does this have to do with your contract? Let me tell you what it has to do with my contract. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. It has nothing at all to do with my contract. What it has to do with is the character of the man named D.L.Hugely. That's what this has to do with. And let me acknowledge, D.L.Hugely did apologize. He said he apologized. And y'all are saying, Monique, he owned his mistake. Let me say this to you. Though he owned it, it does not erase the trauma. And when we talk about the character of the individual, for years, D.L.Hugely has given his commentary and his opinion on other people's lives, not just mine, for years. And he would give the ins and outs. Hold on. We sorry, baby, because, okay, they just must have thought we meant just for a second. But hold on, he get ready to shut it down. Stop it. Please. Thank you, sugar. We're just getting to taking care of my babies. Please forgive us for a second. And again, like I said, tag as many as you can, because this is a conversation, in my humble opinion, that our community needs to hear and wrap our minds around, because we're getting caught up in the fluff, y'all. We're getting caught up in the fluff of shit, and we're not trying to deal with the facts of shit. We getting distracted. So when y'all are saying to me, Monique, this is so immature, Monique, this is so wrong, I'll take that. I'll take that. Because when I'm watching our community fall apart at a rapid race, because we're too afraid to have the real conversations, and y'all keep saying, let's do it privately, because we're too afraid to look embarrassed in front of who? In front of who? And we watching us. So for the ones that say, oh, Monique, you could handle this differently, this my swing at the back. This my swing.
I'm making this quick video because it has been 1 month since joining the Cashflow 101 system. And so what
This my swing. This is our swing at that bat. So we're going to take our swing. Thank you, baby.
No worries.
So let me get back to what I was saying. When you start addressing the character of the man,
shout out to my man, Uncle Stu.
When you really look into what is happening.
Shout out to Uncle Stu, old man on the block, for that $2 super sticker. Once again, we're talking about the meta madness associated with Monique. We're talking about and asking ourselves the question, is she really built like that? Or is Monique dealing with unresolved trauma? Is she dealing with unresolved distress? And is she projecting her distress to men to feel powerful based on the unresolved issues with mental illness and distress that she never got taken care of as a child? Keep listening.
Happening when a man says, I was not strong enough to defend my daughter against a really, really good friend of mine because I didn't want to jeopardize the friendship. Though he apologized, you have to ask yourself, what kind of demons is that man dealing with that he couldn't stand up to the predator of his child? Of his child. But that same man goes on his radio show and talks about people as if he was sitting in the meetings, as if he was making their life decisions, as if his opinion mattered in their choices. So when I say, listen, y'all, it was important for me to make that post because there are so many little girls out there with daddies like DL.
And let me try to adjust this because reference to being sideways.
Well, I can hold it, Daddy.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. No, just it's better for them to view.
Okay, so let me address it. When y'all are asking me, is it okay to re-traumatize his daughter? Listen, y'all, let's stop playing this game. There's nothing I could say or do to re-traumatize that baby because the trauma has already set in. However, if we speak it out loudly and we say it to our community, maybe the next baby won't have to deal with the goddamn trauma. See, when I made that post, it was intentional. It was intentional. It was intentional.
And let me say this too. When we speak about the character, we don't know D.L.Hugely in the totality to speak about his character, but what we know is about his actions. So what we can say reasonably and factually is that when you have a man that said, essentially, that he didn't do right by his daughter, that seemed to me that it would create a level of humility that you wouldn't go after other people so vehemently in the manner that you do. So that's the moment when humility steps in and say, I have my own demons to deal with. So moving forward, the way in which I approach and go after people, I will not. You see, when Monique went on his show trying to support her friend at that time, DL, and she was asked, would you rather your husband sleep with Lee Daniels without a condom or Corinne Steffens with a condom? That is a violation of a woman's whole position, because you're violating this black woman as you are violating your community, because you're trying to point out this is a person who is this man and this woman here, and there are implications surrounding both of them that are unsaid, which is why he chose them. But now, like many sisters who have seemingly Stockholm syndrome, you've been.
So once again, guys, the link has been dropped. If you want to add some clarity to this conversation, is Monique really built like that, or is Monique dealing with meta madness? So many actually deal with meta madness. Or does Monique have something that so many have as a condition called is she dealing with cognitive dissonance? Keep listening, guys. The link has been dropped. I'm going to end this stream in a few minutes and relax and check the game out. But in the meantime, I do these shows, guys, to add clarity to mental health awareness, but also for you men that are single and also you men that are in relationships to see trigger points and patterns associated with unresolved and undiagnosed mental illness.
Been captured and fallen in love with the captor that's violating you. Because if you're protecting an individual that said, I didn't do right by my daughter, and you're hearing a black woman saying, I went on his show as a friend, but he didn't do right by me. What do you guys think you have coming? What do you ladies think that you have coming? When black men or men tell you that you look like something is wrong, the reason why many of you, something is wrong, because you suffer in silence.
And please, Daddy, let me address something.
All right, KP from KC5. Hold tight, brother. All right, KP from KC5, man. How would you like to add to the conversation, sir? He said that's on his mama. You funny, man. KP from KC5, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Can you hear me, Kosher?
Yes, sir. I hear you, brother. I was trying to add to this conversation about the meta madness because there's a lot of meta madness going on, KP from KC5, with the Uvalde shootings, the shootings in Philly, the shootings in Buffalo, New York. There's a lot of darkness permeating in the world, man. It seems like when you try to go hide, it keeps getting worse. But what's your take on this Monique situation, man? And do you think she's built like that, or do you think Monique is dealing with mess of madness from mental illness? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I really believe she's dealing with a mental illness. She's alienated the whole industry that she worked in, and he allowed her to do it and encouraged her to do it. See, that goes to show you about what you teach and what you talk about between you, yourself, Dr. Ron O'Neill, Green Gorilla, Dr. Tia San Johnson, talking about men leading and being the leaders. He's basically being led by her.
Right.
And he's watching her destroy everything in her wake.
Right.
And as she destroys it all, he's there behind her. You see him sitting behind her with the hat. He's sitting behind her, and she's giving him all these words of quote unquote affirmation, daddy this, daddy that, talking in this kind of way on the live to make him feel some kind of way. But he doesn't run that show. She runs the show. And she's basically throwing a temper tantrum and burning it all down. And he's watching it happen on his watch. It's very sick to watch because the entertainment industry is showing us all these relationships where these women are leading these men around by their collar.
Right.
We're watching it. We're watching it live. We watched Will Smith a couple months ago, right? We watch him. We watch her and him. We're watching all these quote unquote modern ladies run these men into the ground. And they seem to think it's okay.
Yeah, it's just the worst KP from KC5 that you've seen it as it relates to behaviors and some of the women associated. Is the worst you've seen?
I would say yes. I would say yes. I mean, and think about this too, Kosher. These are the same people that typically vote for the leftist type of policies.
Right.
Yet and still she runs out here and says, DL, what does DL stand for?
Right. It's contradictory.
Yeah, it's totally contradictory.
Right.
But if there was a male saying that on the stage, he'd be ran off the stage almost. There's no way that a black male comedian could say that. No way.
Right.
But that's the age and the era that we live in. And as you see, Sydney is only there to serve.
Yeah, it seems like he's a token simp. He's definitely a part of the matriarchal hyena clan. He's a token simp, and some might argue that he's only using her for money and status. What's your take on that?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what it is, and it's funny because typically when we see these guys come around these spaces that we're in, they'll start to pander and say, it's just not the women, guys. It's just not this. It's just not that. Well, if they're selecting only the archetype that looks a certain way, and they're declining the I think he was a neurophysicist or something the other day. They're declining those type of guys.
Right.
They're declining the Michael B. Jordans, right? And then they're telling us, yeah, we want to get married. Nah, not really. You don't. You really don't. Because in essence, what you're picking is based off of what you feel is right, and you shouldn't have the power to pick, really. That's the problem. You shouldn't have a power to pick. We've seen it many years, Kosher. You've been to the drive-through with a woman. You see, not all women, but pretty much a lot of the time they don't know what they want to eat. Just a simple thing is picking what you want to eat. I mean, this thing is really crazy what we're watching in real time, and it's going to get worse.
Oh yeah. It's going to get worse. It has gotten worse, and some are arguing now that their select content female creators that are trying to take over Kevin Samuel's spot or using his talking points to push their own agenda. What's your take on that? A little off topic, but what's your take on that? That's a
great question. I'm glad you asked that. I seen a video pop up like that, and I'm like, there's no follow-up questions.
You don't ask any follow-up questions after a woman says, I have 4 children by 3 guys, and then you just go on to the next question about the zodiac sign or something like that. Like, hey man, you're wasting your time. You're about to find out exactly what he found out. And what he found out is that the women don't want to get married. They want the hot girl summer. They want all these freedoms without the consequences that it took to get the freedoms.
Hey, hold tight, bro. Hold tight, KP. I'm Devin. I know KP from KP from KC5. I'll bring you up. Just show your face in the back, and then I'm gonna bring you up. But I don't think I've had the pleasure to meet you. Oh, there you go, Devin. Yeah, okay, I know you, Devin. Okay, cool, brother. All right, I got you, Devin. All right, but yeah, that's how you doing, Devin? What's going on, brother?
Very good, man.
But one of the questions, Devin, I was on the show with you the other night. I think it was on Black Man Unfiltered, and we know the mental illness is running rampant in the ADOS community, is running rampant in America with the Buffalo shootings, with the Uvalde shootings of those innocent babies. Yep. And it seems like we're getting darker and darker, brother, in the rabbit hole. What's your take on this Monique Fiasco? Is she really built like that? Or is she dealing with what I call meta madness? The meta madness comes from the word metacognitions, which basically means to think about what you're thinking about. But one will ask Monique the question, what are you thinking about to continue to shoot yourself in the foot? So what's your take on the situation, Devin?
Yeah, man, I think what's really, let's call it what it is, man. It's a dark triad. It's a streak of the dark triad personality disorder.
Yes, right. I'm gonna do a show on it tomorrow. It's funny you said that. I'm doing a show on it tomorrow, guys. Yeah. The show tomorrow is going to be lit. We're going to have it popping, but I need you guys to share it. It's going to be called a term that I created called the Medusa Complex. They can't see themselves, Devin. They can't see themselves, KP from KC5, because when you present them with the evidence, because they have a condition called, and I've talked about it in the past, but they got a condition called.
I like that.
No doubt.
And profound narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, man.
Psychopathy, yes, man.
Yes, sir.
Brother, the show I'm gonna do tomorrow, man. Oh man, let me hold tight, Devin. The show I'm gonna do tomorrow, KP and Devin, man. It's gonna make your head pop off. It's gonna be fire for your mind. The Kosher tradition. It's going to be some fire for your mind tomorrow. I've been working on this thumbnail for a minute. It's going to be dope. And so it's going to be talking about the dark triad. Like you said, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, and how that impacts the function of not only many of our modern women, but how many of our men are actually victims to some of those pathologies because they don't know what to look for, and they continue to feed that narcissistic supply. But once again, what do you think about this whole Monique Fiasco, Devin? Now, break it down, man. Is she germinating or dealing with mental distress, in your opinion?
I don't know, man. It seems like there's something inside of her that wants to be the center of attention, and at the same time, she can't resist sabotaging her own success.
Right. Keep talking. I'm going to run to the restroom. You and KP, keep talking. Yeah. Keep breaking it down. I got to run to the restroom. Hold tight.
I mean, we're talking about the D.L.Hugely thing, right, brother? KP?
Yes, sir. That's what he's talking about.
Yes, bringing up this daughter and bringing up an abuse situation with his daughter was just simply uncalled for, man.
Hey, Devin, it was very unique because she brought it up and then she tried to go under the black guise of being black.
Oh my God! Yes, this is a black issue, and of course, D.L.Hugely, being a weak black man, can't protect his daughter. But you see, D.L.Hugely, he always takes that leftist liberal position, man. I mean, he champions that in the media. So now
he
sure
does.
Yes,
he sure does. And now the gynocracy is on his back.
That's right. The same people that he thinks is on his team are now, hey, you're nothing but a black man anyway. And remember, you're supposed to be weak and just know your place anyway, and so just shut up and take it. But it's really ugly that she had to go there. And on the same tip, I would like to know who this individual is, if it really happened. As far as he was concerned, you know,
he kind of explained it some. He said basically it was they were both the same age, so they was like 13 or 14. So the kids were the same age.
Okay. I thought it was one of his Hollywood connects that did it.
No, Devin. Monique painted it that way, so it could look that way.
Yeah.
See, she painted it that way intentionally. That's very foul.
That's real foul. That's painting him in the ugliest of light for no reason.
Yep.
Yeah. That's trying to say. Okay, you know, everybody else bows to the system, even to this extent, and you know, this makes me look even greater because I don't bow to the system.
Right.
That's just ugly. That's just ugly. She needs to quit. You know, listen. Let me tell you. Maybe she's feeling a little bit of guilt because of that, you know, rambunctious melange of stereotypes that she represented in Precious. Mm-hmm. I personally don't appreciate her representing sisters that way. And so, I mean, you know, I don't really think being the most down is really the route that she should be taking right now. You know, she wants to make everybody else look like they're the sellout when, I mean, you know, what put you on the map was an act of selloutishness.
Mm-hmm. But Devin, the unique thing about her is that character must be part of who she actually is.
Right. That's why she personified it so well.
Of course, it's easy and natural because it is so deeply ingrained in our culture that our women are narcissistic, Machiavellian psychopaths that she had dozens of references. I'm not even talking about her mama, maybe her mama too, but I know she had dozens of cultural references and personal references, and we all have, man. Come on. We all had one or two friends that we felt sorry for because their mama ain't shit. Come on, man. In our neighborhoods growing up, and they know that is an unfortunately common archetype, but still. Why put that at the forefront? Why do that to sisters? Why do that to black women? Mm-hmm. We ain't even talk about what you're doing to us. You know what I'm saying? Why put black womanhood on such an ugly display? But, you know, so maybe somewhere in her mind, she's feeling guilt. You know what I mean? And that cognitive dissonance may be kind of cracking at the edges. And so she's thinking, oh, my God, you know, I gotta be the complete 180-degree antithesis of a sellout, and I got to represent that self. You know, no. Now, you know what's really true. Okay, I'm from New Orleans, and a lot of people don't realize this, but as much as you know, Satchmo, right, Pops Armstrong, as much as you know, his type of entertainment was viewed as accommodationist, to white audiences. Louis Armstrong in person. He was a radical brother back in the day.
Right.
And yeah, you could just Google some Louis Armstrong political quotes and you'll know where he was standing from. And he wasn't faking the funk because he was living in the day where a black man really did not have a voice. And, you know, so I don't know if she's trying to take that route. I don't know if she's trying to paint herself as Miss I'm So Down or whatever, but it ain't working.
Yeah, when you see what's going on, Devin, you know, you and I are probably from the class of 90. Well, anyway, we're Gen X's, I think. And what have you seen precipitate, Devin, more so now that you've never seen before in human history? It appears that it's getting worse and worse. The behaviors, the lack of accountability.
And arrogance, yes. Entitlement.
Right. And, you know, my man, right? My man Top Gun came up with a condition called the granny serpent, and you know, the granny serpent is similar to this. And many of them, Devin, when you present them with the evidence, they get what's called ego syntonia. They actually think that what they're doing is normal. They think in their ego, with their ego, they should be feeling the way that they're feeling. And that's the scary thing about it, because you can present them with the evidence, Devin, and they still think what they're doing is normal. I've never seen nothing like it in my lifetime, brothers.
Well, because their vote is needed for the left machine. Right. And so the left machine, with all of the shit that they're pushing, all of the craziness, they're just ignoring them. They're ignoring them. And they're saying that tolerating this type of behavior, is part of the left agenda.
Right.
That's why they're standing behind Jada Pinkett with all of the disgusting things and the way she humiliated Will. They're standing behind, Harvey, you know what I mean? Laurie Harvey or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
All this type of despicable behavior, shameless behavior, no foresight. And you know what? We're not even getting honest about the fact that, hey, man, used vagina is worthless. The whole, a key that opens any lock is a master key, but the lock that is open with any key is worthless.
Yeah, it's very, very unique. Like you said, Kosher, and what I'm starting to see a lot is that instead of which the women would possibly be around you guys' age, the women that's you guys' age are wishing that they were 25 and 30. So their daughters that are around them are never checked.
Right.
It's kind of like a sister instead of a daughter.
Right. Like sisters, right.
They're dressing alike. They're talking alike. They're discussing the same things because they're both single.
They're going after the same man. They're going after the same men. Yeah. They're fighting.
And instead of the woman being a guide to marriage for the daughter, it's like a guide to the gynocracy system on 10.
Yeah, exactly. And they're giving them that guidance.
When you said, Monique hit an all-time low, man. Hit an all-time low with what she did, bringing up issues with the baby. And, when you think about the Twilight Zone, KP and Devin, it looks like something from the Twilight Zone. I'm going to replay this intro clip. I don't know if you guys saw it coming in, but this was an intro talking about Monique and this D.L.Hugely situation. I'm going to replay that intro if you guys haven't seen it, because it's sad and it's unfortunate.
What can we learn from the fiasco associated with the comedian Monique? Is Monique suffering from an underlying mental illness, a mental illness that caused her to go off based on the pain that was associated with Monique from the past? You guys know, and I know that more recently, Monique said some very negative things towards several comedians. One of those was D.L.Hugely, Steve Harvey, and a myriad of others. But true to life, many would say that art often imitates life. And if art imitates life, what can we learn about the Monique situation? Was Monique ruminating about Precious, as Precious was a projection of who she was, but also was Precious a projection of the pain that she suffered, as we all know that Monique went through severe trauma of being raped in the past, and did that raping cause Monique to go through a cognitive split and develop what's called personality disorders and also post-traumatic stress disorder. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as we explore the meta madness associated with Monique. And I need you guys to remember this, that there are 7 steps to male optimization. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. What can we learn about Monique and her negative and very evil comments towards people such as D.L.Hugely and his family? And have you seen Monique manifest in some modern women? Be well.
So go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
See, they only paid her $60,000 for that movie, right? Which is an insult in Hollywood.
Okay,
so basically, the message that they were sending her is that you weren't really acting. Right. You were just being yourself. That wasn't work for you.
Right.
That was natural because that's who you are.
Right. I see your point. Right.
So here's the $60,000 for your time. And then she internalized that and was like, well, wait a minute. I felt like I was digging down and bringing up all kind of pain and all the rest of that method acting stuff. And I got chump change compared to what everybody else in that particular movie got.
Right.
So No, she recognized what time it is.
Okay. So you think she's cognizant and she's not more or less projecting, or you think it's a combination of both?
I think she kind of thinks we're stupid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She thinks we don't see what's obvious. And so she thinks she can, she thinks she can kind of play, Angela Davis, you know what I mean? I'm more down than everybody else, and everybody else is a sellout, and to try to make up for the fact that no, I mean, what you did was, you promoted the ugliest of stereotypes. You represented Black womanhood in the most despicable way, and there's really no way that we can call it anything else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing you can do now is try to play the game. See if you can find an agent like Denzel that can get you some respectable roles, so that maybe you can play some respectable historical sisters and let your career speak for itself, and quit burning bridges and pissing off everybody for no reason. Quit displaying that personality disorder.
Like I said earlier, I'm not going to diagnose it because that would be inappropriate. But when you look at her, Devin, just from your own anecdotal perspective, do you think she's dealing with the personality disorder in your opinion? And if so, if you had to guesstimate, what would you say it is?
Regular old NPD, brother, narcissistic personality disorder. That's all.
Right. Yeah. That's what I said earlier. I said if I had to diagnose, she looked like she had some of those symptoms, and once again, many of that come as a byproduct of trauma. It's a byproduct of trauma, man, and it's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
The Fitness for You said that my boy Isaiah Washington was explaining how Hollywood is disrespectful to her. What's your take on what Fitness for You said? You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood is disrespectful to her. Hollywood is disrespectful to everybody, man. Hollywood is very monstrous from the top down, from the tippy top down.
Right.
That's a pretty disgusting machine in and of itself. And I have, I'm SAG-AFTRA, bro. I mean, I know what I'm talking about, but at the same time, and I can understand what's going on from her perspective, as saying, who's this Lee Daniels telling me that I got to play the game and I got to do this and I got to do that, but at the same time, what made her think that she had the right to just take this Black man, if she's recognizing the racism and injustice? What made her think that it was appropriate to take this D.L.Hugely, this Black man, and then put his laundry out there, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And misrepresent it, not even put his laundry out there, misrepresent him like that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically smear him for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just disgusting, man. But like I said, I'm looking at it from her subjective position, but I'm also looking at the political climate that we're in right now, brother.
Talk about it.
It's really, we as Black men, especially Black heterosexual American men, have to understand that the left and the right, the far left and the far right, none of their agendas are considering us at all.
Right.
None of their agendas has the Black man's welfare, well-being, success in mind. And this format, like your show, like my show, the channels that we're setting up, the Manosphere, is really, really establishing that. It's really establishing that, we have a voice, we recognize we have a voice, and goddamn it, we're going to give it to ourselves, because the traditional media is not trying to do it, and neither is the new media. The left is not going to do it, and neither is the right. The right recognizes that we are competitors for the same resources, and the left figures all they need is Black women, and then the LGBTs, and whoever else they want to put in their pocket, and for some reason, empowering Black patriarchy, Black manhood, anything that would result in us forming families, man, just families, because that's the only way we're going to establish generational wealth in this country, right?
Right.
Is when you really get in the game and you accept capitalism, you accept inequality, and you accept that it's unfair, but you accept it because you know that you can compete on those terms and you can carve out, you're an exceptional human being, and you can work hard and you can carve out your own. You come across the reality that, there is a thing called inheritance, right? Bankruptcy, like Donald Trump said, bankruptcy and inheritance are two of the greatest parts of this country, greatest aspects of living in this country. And, you can crap out and it don't cost you nothing, but if you do succeed, you can pass it on to somebody else. And, we got to deal with trust fund brats, man. As unfair as it is, we have to deal with people that have access to capital. And the only way we're going to establish that, right? Like they say, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, right? The second best time is right now. You know what I mean? We have to understand that in order for us to elevate ourselves as a people, which is really not impossible, right? There's always going to be a poor class and a wealthy class. It is very possible, other people have done it to raise all, if not 99% of us up out of that as generations pass. But we can't do that unless we could get along as men and women. And that's the only way we're going to form families.
Well, I think it's over. I think it's going to take generations. I'm not against those fighting for the advocation of families, Devin. I'm not against it. But I think we reached an all-time low. I think something of Herculean proportion must happen to bring balance back to the negative situation that we're having. When you got a group of women that laugh at the death of a man and was celebrating his life, celebrating his death like, he was Adolf Hitler. That's a problem in our society and our culture. And that to me was the last straw. You don't have to like or agree with what some people say, but to celebrate his death, that's evil, man. That's a sign of evilness, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It's gone, it's gone totally. I mean, it's like the twerking. I mean, it's gone totally to the, humanly, socially unacceptable realm. But nobody seems to check them. The people on their side don't check them. The left sure ain't gonna check them.
And the Sims are definitely not gonna check them.
The cuckolds that they're married to are not gonna check them.
Right. Which is unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. Hold on, man. Shout out to Top Gun. He said, these Pontius Pilate were raised to love, protect Mama Simps, and are defending a woman who attacked this man and family under the disguise of not headlining. And like Raekwon and Madman said,
put chain on them balls on my mom. They be broken balls. Kill some of my mom, bro. They back me look like gang. That's on my monkey. Gang. That's on my monkey. Gang. That's on my monkey.
Oh, that's damn shit.
Yeah. It's on his mama, man. It's on his mama, man. And it's unfortunate. What did you think about the virtue signaling, Monique? We're going to sign off in a minute. I'm going to finish catching this game, man, and get ready for the show tomorrow. But what did you think about the virtual signaling of Monique when she was talking about the bonding situation, but then she comes out and say very negative and very virulent words towards other actors? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's out of control, and it's disgustingly racist when you really think about it, right? Mm-hmm. Because just like it is unforgivable for black male gangbangers to basically capitalize on the fact that the police don't give a damn if one of us is shot down, and therefore be more willing to take out one of us than they would even, raise their voice to somebody of another community. They also are understanding that right now, like I said, we're in this political climate that seems to say that they can do no wrong. It's the color purpling, it's the waiting to exhaling, it's I don't know what it is, but it's a combination of all of this that's led to, okay, you've established yourself as your own political entity that doesn't even have the same interests as black men. Okay, fine. You've established yourself that, you want to live in this gynocentric matriarchy type of deal where, the man, if he is present, is just basically a piece of furniture, and the woman is raising the kids and telling everybody what the fuck to do, including the husband. Good. Not all men are going to go out like that. Not all black men are going to take that disrespect. Not all black men are going to take. I mean, some of these brothers are even taking physical abuse, man.
Right.
You know, so she's a sign of the times, right? I mean, she's a sign of the times because she's arrogant about the way she's doing this. She's like, you know, I'm in a climate that, you know, I got my little yes man husband next to me, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I can talk shit, I can get down in the dirt, I can drag people and whatever, and I look like I'm acting right because I got my man sitting here next to me, and he's of course a castrated leftist, you know what I mean?
Right. I totally know what you mean, man. And a lot of guys are. Some say that he was masculine and dominant, but then some say that he's weak. But it's all subjective. But listen, man, I really enjoyed you. Please tune in on tomorrow, man. And we'll chop it up, man. And I know you're passionate, so I tell all guys to watch the language for this crazy algorithm, man. But I love your insight. You're a very intelligent brother, man. I like how you think. I've seen you on a couple of channels. What does your show talk about, Devin, real quick?
Well, basically, I do holistic health. I try to give brothers lifestyle advice, political advice. I try to preserve the dignity or defend the dignity of the Black American family. I'm trying to form the Black American Party. You can come check that out at blackamericanparty.com. And, I'm going to be devoting a lot more to, because of the economy right now, CBD oil, my supplements, and the therapies that I offer, they're kind of like luxuries. Mm-hmm. So I'm using a little bit of foresight. I'm realizing that people got to buy gasoline in order to survive. And so I'm kind of shifting gears maybe away from the holistic health, as a practice and kind of focusing on YouTube with like what you're doing right now, man, like social commentary, political lifestyle, art. I do a lot of artwork here in my studio. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I gave you a little quick flash cam. Bam. See my painting back there.
Yeah. Good work, man. Good work, brother. Good work. Thanks, good work. Excellent work. Well, listen, Devin's been a pleasure, man. I was hoping to win a bigger turnout tonight, but I guess folks are looking at the game. So I'm going to sign off, man. We got a powerful show on tomorrow. Guys, please share the show, because when we do these shows, we upset the hornet's nest. I don't know why, because we're not talking about folks. But share the content, because I don't know about you, Devin. Many times when you do these shows, I don't know, subscribers start dropping. Folks get in the feelings. I've never in my life seen nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
Because you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, some are not changing it. They get mad and they don't want to see. So it is what it is. I'm not going to continue to mire in simplicity. But anyway, brother, much love and blessings, man. We're going to sign off. I appreciate it, brother. And join in and tune in on tomorrow, man, as we chop up some comprehensive game, all right?
Will do, brother. Thanks for having me on, man.
No doubt, brother. Be well.
Peace out.
All right, guys, we're about to sign off. It's been an awesome show talking about Mellow Madness. We'll be bringing it to you live once again tomorrow as we talk about the Dark Triad and the Medusa Complex. Thank you to the guys that watched the show tonight. We were small in numbers, but I think I got the message out. As you guys know, as a licensed therapist, these shows are very, very, very time-consuming, to the point that sometimes it can be very draining. But to the faithful people that actually watch on tonight, I'm grateful and honored. We're going to have a good show on tomorrow, and I got a very good show coming up on Sunday. You guys are going to really love that one. It's going to be a church edition, so you guys are going to love that, man. So anyway, guys, signing off. Much love and blessings, guys. Get your rest. Take care of yourself. And don't be a victim of ego symptoms. All right, guys, once again, we're signing off, and you guys have a blessed night. See you on tomorrow.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all 'cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, let's kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say